The film opens with two young men, 18-year-old Mike and 20-year-old Jack, finding an old, faded map in a chest in the attic of one of their homes. The map promises treasure, hidden deep in the jungle, and the legend says that whoever finds it will gain not only wealth, but also truth about themselves. That night, while the town sleeps, Mike and Jack sit by the window with the map between them. Mike is dreamy and always searching. Jack is more cautious and practical, but he too feels the pull to leave ordinary life for something greater. The film begins with their short conversations about the past and their reasons for going, why they must go and what they hope to find. They talk about fears and hopes and agree that if they return, they will be different people. Finally, they decide to go, packing only essentials: a compass, a knife, a few bananas, a flashlight, and the carefully folded map that holds the secret. Main section: the journey and trials. The first days through humid lowlands and swamps set the rhythm: rains, mosquitoes, the deep hum of the jungle, and a constant feeling of being watched. Along the way they find the first clues: strange stone markers and old wooden planks, half buried by roots. These moments reveal their growing bond and contrasting personalities. Mike is often ready to take risks. Jack reminds him to be careful. On the third day, they face their first serious obstacle: a wide, fast river with swinging vines and slippery stones they must cross. Jack constructs a passage from available materials, and Mike, driven by excitement, takes the more dangerous route. The crossing is difficult, but their teamwork builds trust. In the jungle there are moments of surprising quiet, dawns filled with unfamiliar birds, nights under countless stars, a sense of touching an ancient, unseen world. Yet danger is part of the path. One night they are awakened by barking at dawn. They find large feline tracks near their camp. This is their first close contact with wild animals. They learn to stay quiet, keep fires, and use light to keep predators away. Later the flora itself poses harm. Not only rain and density, but poisonous vines and flowers whose spores trigger a severe allergic reaction in Jack. Mike must improvise a primitive compress and find fresh water. This episode shows how fragile the balance between knowledge of nature and naivety can be. While crossing a narrow canyon, they discover rock paintings, traces of an ancient culture, mysterious symbols similar to those on the map. This makes them feel they are close, but also reveals that the place's history is deeper and more complex than a simple treasure tale. They begin to understand that their quest is not only physical, but a search to uncover someone else's story. On the 8th day they meet a local woman named Mari, a guardian of the trails who lives in harmony with the jungle. At first, she is wary, but after Mike saves her from a falling tangle of vines, she decides to help them. Mari shares her version of the legend. The treasure is not only gold, but sacred items hidden long ago to protect them from invaders. She warns that the jungle protects not just material wealth but memory, and those who seek it with greed will face the wrath of nature and people. This introduces a moral dilemma: continue for riches or respect the memory of the people who consider the place sacred. Mike and Jack argue quietly, but deeply. Each has different motives, and their choices become personal tests. They press on with their path, now shadowed by new questions. Soon they find traces of other treasure hunters, ruined camps, burned footbridges, broken tools. Clearly others searched here before and some did not return. This raises the stakes. The fate of treasure seekers is not guaranteed, and past failures are warnings. They also face trials of the spirit, places where the air feels heavy with memory, and everyone hears whispers of past voices. Jack sees vivid visions. Mike feels as if someone is tugging a thread of memory in his mind, showing scenes he has never lived, but that feel strangely familiar. The film suggests that the jungle is not merely a location, but a keeper of stories. In one intense scene, they are confronted by natives guarding the sacred part of the jungle. The first encounter is tense. Weapons are raised and eyes are sharp. Mari acts as translator and mediator, explaining that if they prove honest intentions, they will be allowed to undergo trials. The trials are a pilgrimage through 3 hearts of the jungle, a test of strength, a test of mind, and a test of heart. In the first challenge they must face physical danger, a narrow pass and a cascade of falling rocks from a slope. They combine efforts. Jack uses his engineering mind to find safer routes, and Mike, with intuition and courage, leads when risk is required. The second test asks them to solve a riddle of ancient symbols. It is a test of patience and understanding, where old wall drawings hint at the values of the ancestors: cooperation, restraint, and respect for nature. The third is the most subtle, a mirrored chamber where each sees their worst self and deepest fears. Jack sees a version of himself who would betray a friend for gain. Mike sees himself lost forever chasing a reckless dream. They must overcome inner fears to progress. This sequence reveals their characters and lets viewers feel how challenges reshape them. One night after a long day of trials, Jack and Mike talk by the fire about what treasure means to them. Jack admits that for him is the chance to provide security for his family and not be dependent on others, while Mike confesses that treasure is a way to prove he is not just a dreamer and that he can achieve something meaningful. Their conversation ends in silence, filled with jungle sounds and breathing. They realize that even if they find a chest, not all material gains will satisfy true desires. Later they discover an entrance to underground passages, a labyrinth of ancient corridors hidden beneath the roots of a massive tree. The labyrinth is full of traps, moving walls, hidden pits, pressure-activated mechanisms. The film details the traps and how they overcome them, showing how attention and mutual aid save lives. In one chamber they find fragments of an old manuscript which, when pieced together, reveal a deeper map, not merely a physical guide, but a map of meanings that hints the final goal is symbolic. As they descend, tension grows, air gets colder, walls emit a faint glow, and the floor bears the footprints of those who came before. They feel an increasing sense of responsibility. They are not mere treasure hunters, but guests in a sanctuary, and every action has consequence. In a climactic moment, the labyrinth begins to collapse, old mechanisms trigger, and the ceiling starts to fall. Here their best traits emerge. Jack sacrifices his chance to reach the central chamber first, holding a falling stone so Mike can pass. This is a moment of risk, heroism, and desperate trust. They nearly lose each other, but hold on and manage to reach a large underground sanctuary, where the treasure is hidden. Climax and discovery of the treasure. The sanctuary does not resemble a classic chest of gold. Instead, an enormous room holds ritual objects, gold, and ornaments. But at the center is an altar with a scroll and ancient inscribed slabs. The scroll tells the story of the people who lived here, their aspiration and tragedies, and how they hid their valuables to protect them from invaders. On the table there is also a mirrored stone reflecting the faces of those who approach the altar. The moment overwhelms them emotionally. The treasure is not only material wealth but memory, culture, and knowledge. They realize that taking the gold would be robbing another people's history. Here the key conflict unfolds: Jack's desire to secure his family's future, and Mike's wish to preserve the sanctity of the place. Mari returns with the tribe leader. They have watched the outsiders pass the trials. To test their intent, the leader looks closely and asks why they came. In a respectful and sincere exchange, Jack speaks honestly about his hopes and fears, and Mike speaks about his search for meaning and understanding. After a long pause, the leader gives them a choice. They may take some material items that are not sacred, but must leave anything tied to cultural memory, or they may leave empty-handed to preserve the site intact. This moment is charged with moral weight, personal desire, communal rights, and future consequences. They choose honesty. They take only enough to meet basic needs and leave sacred items untouched. Their decision is seen as an act of respect. In return, the tribe shares with them oral knowledge, maps of traditions, stories, and warnings for the future, and allows them to take a single small artifact as proof of sincere intentions. The journey back is different. Their steps are lighter, yet their gaze more profound. Jack feels he now has resources and a story to change his family's life by honest means. And Mike gains the understanding that adventure does not replace responsibility. The tribe and Mari bid them farewell. And in these goodbyes a new bond is formed, a promise to preserve history rather than exploit it. Back in town, Mike and Jack share a portion of the acquired goods and, more importantly, the stories and knowledge they brought home. These tales become the seed of other changes. Jack finds opportunities to support his family legitimately, and Mike finds a path in work that involves studying and protecting cultural heritage. The final scene mirrors the beginning. They sit by the same window where it all started. The map no longer looks like an invitation to greed, but a reminder of the journey they undertook. Outside, dawn breaks, and their conversation is no longer about treasure, but about the people they met and how the experience transformed them. The closing voiceover sums up that sometimes treasure is not objects, but what we give away, and what we learn on the way, and how we choose to use what we find. The film ends with a warm sense of closure and the hope that even the wildest searches can lead to deep inner growth when pursued with honesty and respect.